Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Checking 1 2. Checking 1 2.
Wake up, goddammit!
Hey, gang. Friday. Time for Friday fights. And I don't know, maybe I'm going to be fighting with myself. I talked to Matt. I was expecting him to be. He said he was a man. He knows he's got a big question to answer today from superfan Ken. Let me check Facebook, make sure I don't have any frantic message. Scott and Katie got the puppy back. Millie is now back in Western Australia with Scott and Katie Browning from Dare Media. Here is a message on No, that's another conversation. So I don't know. I'm not going to message them now. I'll message on a direct. On your way. All right. So today, well, presuming we get our co-host in today, Superfan Ken has the question that he asked me earlier this week that I said we'll redirect to Matt Deemer. And that is about XRP and its worthiness of an investment. Matt's also planning on giving us an additional crypto report today. I think Bitcoin may have hit another high. I think. Let me look this up while I'm telling you about the rest of the day. For the Epsteinth time, again. Oh, it broke 120,000. It did hit a new high, just not right now. Analysts are backing XRP. There you go. If we don't get Matt today, oh, there's a beep. That's got to be it. Yeah, there we go. Analysts are also backing XRP, so we'll see what Matt says. For the Epsteinth time, again, another Epstein update. Also, an update on NPR and PBS. The Senate passed a bill ducking them money. And I think that the House might have done it late last night, too. There's some late last night win for Trump that has a bunch of Dems pissed off right now. And I suspect that may be it, because Johnson has a habit of working late when it benefits him or his boss, which is not the American people, as we all know. Speaking of Trump, we'll talk about his health and his apparent various veins and other shortcomings. I wonder what other vein is struggling as a result. And then also his mental health. We'll take a definite look at that today, too. I do hear the beeps. Let me see if, here we go. Dude, what's up? He looks confused.
What's up, dude?
Can you hear me? You all right?
What's going on?
What do you got going on? Where are you at?
I'm at my mom's house today.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I told him I wanted him to call in, but I don't know. Oh, maybe that was him there. Nope. Yeah, I wanted him to call in to actually get the voice time. I don't know what messages he's seeing, though. Well, there he is on Twitch. Call in, man. I guess I can change that, too. There we go. 1-888-88 Yergs 844 gay LGBT. I got a notification too. I got to pay my phone bill. Apparently, I'm like a couple months behind. I don't get that the way I get other bills, so I don't ever see it. But yeah, Ken, we want to take care of you first. So, or if you want to, try to do it on Discord.
Why don't you send him the link and tell him to pop in?
We can do that too. Yeah. Oh, come on. There we go. So while we're waiting on Superfan Ken to join one way or another, somehow. Last night you never replied back to me.
I know I forgot, and I remembered just now.
A separate? Do you have like a separate crypto report? Is that what you meant, or
yeah, we actually do have a separate crypto report. 3 bills were passed last night.
Okay.
And 2 of them are going to the Senate, and 1 is going over to Trump to sign probably today.
Okay. And what is this? Good news? Bad news? What do you think?
Well, well, it depends how deep you want me to go with it. I can tell you that just here. How about this? We'll start with a 5 minute summary of the bills.
Okay.
Then I can tell you. Then you can add. You can let me know if you want me to go deeper or not.
All right. That's easy enough.
All right, cool. Then we'll start with there's three bills, right?
Right.
The first
Right.
bill is the Genius Act. It's the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoin Act. So what this does is creates the first regulatory framework for U.S. dollar stablecoins, requiring issuers to say back each coin 1 to 1 with liquid, low risk reserves. So a dollar or treasury notes. It mandates anti-money laundering controls and regulates audits and both state and federal oversight. The House voted for this 308 to 122, so 206 Republicans and 102 Democrats in favor. So the Senate already passed this, so it's going to Trump to sign. And basically, it's legitimizing stable coins and allowing private entities, so Circle, Chase Bank, whatever, Bank of America, to issue their own stable coins.
Wow.
So there's the third bill. I'm sorry, the second bill that's kind of like in conjunction with this, if you will. It's an anti-CBDC surveillance act. So it's a anti central bank digital currency. And this is going to prohibit the Federal Reserve from issuing a United States central bank digital currency over concerns that it could enable excessive government surveillance. This passed
Wow.
narrowly, 218 to 210. So 216 Republicans and 2 Democrats passed this yesterday. That's going to the Senate now. So there's going to be a lot of different things that can happen there. So what basically two bills that got passed which were complementary, which we can go for in depth in a minute after I tell you the third bill, is that you are now allowing private companies to make a stable coin and allowing the federal government or telling the Fed that they can't make a stable coin. So two different things here. The third bill.
Wasn't that okay? Go ahead.
No, we can go. What's your question?
Well, I was just going to say, wasn't that one of the big goals, maybe then, of the Biden administration? The digital dollar? Is that going to
Mhm.
kill the digital dollar?
Well, this is the digital dollar. It's just
Yes.
it's now private instead of the Fed.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Let's get to the third one then, and then I'll see. We'll go and get your take on the three of them and bring on Ken.
okay. So the last bill that is going to head back to the wait, which one is this is going to head back to the Senate is the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, or just called the Clarity Act, and this clarifies whether digital assets are securities or commodities. Basically, there's there was a bunch of kerfuffle with the SEC and the CFTC of who has oversight over, say, Bitcoin, for example. What is it? Is it a
Right.
commodity or security? How do we define a commodity or security? Because when you're talking about digital things that are being issued now by people, or even things that are decentralized, really just think of a BitTorrent. Not even talking about Bitcoin, but BitTorrents, where you have decentralized hosting of different digital assets. How is that even classified? And so this is going to um, make it a little bit clearer. So, for example, digital commodities are going to be under the CFTC framework, and they're defined as digital assets that are sufficiently decentralized, meaning no individual group has more than 20% of the assets or its governance, and no entity can unilaterally alter the protocol, meaning that I can't make a decision as a CEO of Bitcoin to say we're now going to have 28 million coins instead of 21 million. So that does happen. So there's two that fall into the CFTC now that are actual commodities, and that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. So they are now not even thought about by the SEC. But
So even
This
we know,
still has to go back to the Senate, by the way.
okay, but even though we know who wrote Ethereum, that's still with Bitcoin.
Even though there was it's about it being decentralized, right?
Okay.
And you as of right now, you can't unilaterally just make a decision. Vivek, Vitalik Buterin can't just come up and say, "Hey, we're going to change Ethereum." You're going to have to
Okay.
get a consensus of all kinds of node validators and stakers to say, "Hey, we're going to do the thing, and we're going to follow this new protocol." You can make protocol suggestions. Say, "I want Ethereum to." I don't know, give everybody a free cookie if you have Ethereum, right? And you could have the proposal, but it doesn't mean everybody's going to start, validating that proposal and making it part of the implementation. They'll probably have questions
Yeah.
like, what does this do? How do we manage it? Who's giving the cookies? Um, horrible example, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah,
just can't just throw
that's
shit
right.
out there and people just
Yeah.
go, okay. Anyway, Bitcoin and Ethereum are now commodities. Under the SEC is going to be investment contracts that offer rights to profits and led to investor efforts. So, like centralized management, like ICO tokens and early stage fundraising tokens. So if they're raising money, say in Series A or B or C with token releases, that's now a security, and you have to do it like a security. So many companies would say, "Hey, I'm a crypto company that does decentralized storage, for example. I'm raising more money for my decentralized storage." Well, you're not giving them money because you don't expect profit. Therefore, it's a security. Um,
Okay.
and then the third thing is stable coins. Like I said, it's going to be joint, but this is going to say it's joint oversight. I have a feeling that this is going to change. By the way, I think the
Okay.
first two are pretty. Or the first two are pretty clear, and I don't think they're going to change. But the stablecoin one that says it's joint oversight, meaning that it's going to be that the SEC and the CFTC are going to both have roles in fraud, manipulation, and things like that. So I think that's going to change. It's going to fall under one or the other. I personally think they're going to put it under the SEC, even though I don't see that there is a. You're not buying stable coins for a profit, but they're going to be profit held companies, and I can't see them being a commodity if, say, Bank of America owns a stable coin.
But the thing about the SEC though is that as much as they're a regulatory agency, they're not a law enforcement agency.
They are.
They
They
are.
are. Well, they're also a law, they're also used in, say, the Biden administration. They are a law creation agency as well. So there's two things that they do. Is not only do they enforce the regulations of securities or any kind of like publicly traded company, their stocks and the way that things are, they will go after you and they will get you. But also, if they
It's a
think that,
civil lawsuit, though.
huh,
Isn't it a civil lawsuit that they can't actually bring criminal charges?
depends.
Okay,
It,
because
it depends.
I thought the whole thing that was really ridiculous about their lawsuit with XRP is that they couldn't bring criminal charges against XRP or against Ripple anyway. Is that when they kept losing in court, all they did was appeal,
Yeah.
forcing XRP to spend more money for something everybody knew that they were going to win.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know you're getting into some nitty gritty, and I'm not a lawyer, so I have no clue. But I would say that they did refer, say, for example, Sam Bankman-Fried, after they found that he had securities fraud and fraud in general, to the FBI, who then arrested Sam Bankman-Fried. So, are they enforcement? I would say that they definitely can have a tug on the the levers of enforcement for criminal proceedings.
Yeah,
I mean, same thing with Madoff, and all that. That's he's in jail for a long time.
Bernie
But
Madoff is dead.
Oh, he did die, didn't he? Did he die? When did he die?
I think he
Was
killed
maybe
himself
not
too.
Enron. Who is Enron?
Oh, Enron. I just actually saw that the other day. I don't remember the
Oh,
name.
was Bernie Madoff again?
Bernie Madoff was the pyramid scheme.
Yeah, but what was the company?
His own. He was a
Oh,
investment
okay.
firm. I don't know. I don't remember what that was. I want to say he was up in Boston somewhere, but don't hold me to that either.
I'm getting things mixed up because I know that that Enron is still being litigated by lawyers, and they're still trying to collect funds. There's still people literally making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year trying to find funds from Enron. Anyway, so so with the SEC, you're saying enforcement or whatever. I can't remember where we were at there. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I actually have the answer to that. The SEC can bring a civil action in a U.S. district court or an administrative proceeding which is heard by an independent administrative law judge. The Security and Exchange Commission does not have criminal authority, but may refer matters to state and federal prosecutors.
Okay, that makes sense. So
So
that's
like
basically what we
you
just
said
heard.
earlier, They forwarded whatever it was, either Enron and or Bernie Madoff, to the FBI.
Right. Okay. So basically,
Who
they can
also has
collect the
authority-
they can collect the file and then just say, "Hey, here you go get them."
Yeah, who also has the authority to investigate it on their own.
Right.
There's very little the FBI can investigate without somebody else's help. Counterfeiting is one.
So the second thing I was going to say is that they do have law creation. I'm going to say law creation. That's very. Let's just say it very loosely in air quotes, because of what they did in the Biden administration was created legislation through enforcement actions and precedent within the court. So basically, Congress was dragging their ass on like things like the Clarity Act, and they said, okay, we're just going to sue the fuck out of companies, and then we'll see how that works in court. And if they side with us, we have new precedent, and now we're going to go get
Yeah.
everybody.
And wasn't that kind of the cause of a pissing match as well? Is that Congress was not legislating? Essentially, the president was.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was three things. It was Congress wasn't legislating because they can't do shit. The president was then figuring like, hey, you know what? I don't know if he was thinking I have to do something, or the lobbyists are talking to him and saying like, this is what we want done, so we're doing something, and that's Biden and Trump making it with executive orders. And then the SEC was sitting there like, well, if nobody's going to do anything, our job is literally to do something, so we're going to do the thing. And we're obviously a Biden administration and SEC, so Biden, what do you want us to do? Let's go get these guys.
Yeah.
And so while it was working its way through court, it really stopped a lot of people from doing stuff. And I've been actually in offices where the SEC and the IRS came in and just started going through everybody's files to see if there was security. And so it really hindered business because nobody knew like what they were doing.
Right.
I want to make a business here, but they're like, I don't know if you can. So we're going to see if you're breaking the law.
Yeah, give us 6 months. Yeah.
It's kind of like a cop getting behind you to wait and just like waiting for you to do something illegal before he pulls you over. Oh, no turn
Right.
signal. Oh, you don't. It's a rolling stop. Oh, let's go on.
Mm.
It's like, wait a minute, man, that's entrapment. What are you doing?
Right. It's not entrapment, but it's poaching. What we in law enforcement would call poaching. Now,
Absolutely. Well, yeah, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Is they would go into these offices, go through their books, and say, "Oh, I think that you are. I see that you could be breaking this law. I'm going to get you now." And it's like, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Like, for example, I was flat out told when I was a patrol officer up in Pennsylvania, certain parking lots I was not allowed, as per department unwritten policy, not allowed to sit in on a Friday or Saturday night because there was a bar in that shopping center. And it would be like I'm just waiting for somebody to drive drunk. And like, no, we're going to get them out on the highway, out on the streets, and get them fair and square. But
That's interesting. Superfan Ken is in the backstage, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. So, are you ready for next portion?
Sure. I would like to dig in a little bit more on the CBDCs and stablecoins, but we can do that with Ken here.
Okay, good enough. Let's bring him out. Here is first time on camera, I believe. You see him every day in the chat, whether on Discord or Twitch or wherever. Here is Superfan Ken.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
What's up, Superfan Ken?
What's up, Matt? How you doing?
All right.
So you have a question for our crypto expert.
Yes.
The host of Daily Crypto News, which will be soon to be on its second Mastiff media station. I didn't get a chance to tell Matt this, and maybe he's going to shoot it down. But we have just put together the infrastructure for a 24/7 news station, which of course will have DCN on it.
That's amazing. The
God,
more the merrier.
God and crypto host willing. But yeah, so you've got a question on XRP.
Yes.
It's validation or whatever you want to say. It's quality of an investment. So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So Matt, I wanted to know a little bit more about XRP. What your thoughts are on investment to that, because I've actually never dealt with crypto before. I have a friend of mine that was explaining to me that that's something that I should probably be looking at. I think he put down like roughly already like $2,000 invested in it so far already. But I just want to get some of your thoughts uh, on it and see if it's worth it my time actually investing in it as well. So
So what do you know about XRP already? Tell me what you know about it, and then tell me why do you thinking that you want to put money into it? Is it because you want to make money, or do you have some kind of ideological belief in what you're doing?
I would like to invest to actually make money would be my goal. As for knowing
Not to
anything
lose
about it,
money makes sense.
you're right. As of anything of about it, I don't really know too much about it. So that's I was kind of shocked when my friend was telling me about it as to his choice of like, hey, this is something that you need to look into. I think he was like, I think this is going to be like one of the things that we really need to figure out. And then I heard something of some type of, I guess, rumor that this could be, I guess, what did they say? Possible how currency will go in the future or something to that effect. So I want to see what your thoughts are.
Well, I am an unpopular opinion guy when it comes to XRP. And so first was I am not an XRP expert, and I never wanted to be. But
Mhm.
in a nutshell, XRP has a token, which is a digital currency called, which is a digital currency, is XRP, but it's owned by a company called Ripple.
Okay.
Ripple is trying to make the new rails for the banking industry. Basically, we have saw that it like ACH transfers and different kind of ways of moving money around is costly, slow. It has a lot of restrictions, and they said, hey, we can probably do it better with our own infrastructure. So they have a pretty good foothold on trying to get banking. Some companies do use it. I think Bank of America does use Ripple's infrastructure um, in some capacity at least. But I don't know how much. But only internally to basically make their um, money flow more efficient. So that's what they do for the most part. Do you think that banks can be more efficient? And if so, what infrastructure will they use? And is it going to be Ripple? And now XRP is a division of that, right? So moving in the future, as I don't know if you were listening to the earlier part, we were talking about the Genius Act and the Anti CBDC Surveillance Act. Now those two acts are allowing companies that are now registered as financial institutions to make stable coins if they're backed one to one. Now Ripple does have a stable coin. It's called RLUSD. And so now they are able to take dollars or any kind of low risk assets, say treasury notes or whatever, and issue one to one, $1 of fiat or $1 of treasuries to their stable coin and put it out there using their rails or using other things, or maybe a lot of those stable coins swap between Ethereum and Solana and Tron and all these different other blockchains, whatever. But so they're just this way of transferring value very quick, easily, frictionless, way costing way less. Ripple is one of those, right?
Yeah.
Um, so they're now I don't know again now I don't know their future business model, but there's a
Mhm.
couple people or a couple business models that are trying to gonna do the same thing. Now that you have a Genius Act that's going to clarify what banks can do and what private companies can do and what you need to do to have a stable coin, now we're looking at are they going to be relevant? So now you have to think to yourself a couple things. We have Circle. Circle is the issuer of USDC, which is also a stable coin. Its value right now is around $58 billion market cap. There's Tether USDT, which is a valuation of I didn't look, but let's just call it 200 or $300 billion.
Uh-huh.
Let's just call it $200 billion. And those are the kind of like the OGs of the native crypto space stablecoins. Now you are giving the permission for Bank of America and Chase and Fifth Third or Third Fifth or whatever they're called, all these different bank companies to now issue their own stablecoins. Now, how are they going to do that? Are they going to make internal blockchains, or are they going to put it on Ethereum? Are they going to put it on Solana, or are they going to use XRP and Ripple? That is now a market choice. Or are they going to create their own, right? And now we're asking ourselves the question of will a Chase stablecoin or it would be more adopted than a, say, Ripple stablecoin.
Okay.
And okay, so now we're into a market discovery phase. So last night, as you probably saw, the price of Ripple went up to around $3, and I think it's 59 cents today, as
Right.
well as anything stablecoin adjacent, say Ethereum and Binance and Tron. They all have stablecoins running on their platforms. They
Mhm.
all went up in price. So everybody's saying like, oh, now that the stablecoin, we want to figure out who is going to be the winner of this. And I think that now we're in market discovery phase. What I will say about the market, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, is I think that the market will go up for the next couple months in this discovery phase, including Ripple and XRP. But after we start seeing how the stable coins are going to roll out, we're going to find out really quick who has product market fit to whatever's going to be rolling out, to buy coffee, to facilitate industry, to hold your currency somewhere for businesses, for individuals, for small mom and pop, for large companies. We have no clue.
Right.
So will that be Ripple XRP? I don't know. And honestly, I would not. I can't tell you what to do. Me personally, I have never taken that bet, even though number did go up and people have made money. I don't want to be in that bet. The second thing is I would say why XRP and why, and the difference between XRP and Ripple. If Ripple were to go public and then became a publicly traded company and had the rails of, say, Bank of America plus a stablecoin, and they were now a publicly traded financial institution that had their own stablecoin, my question would be, why wouldn't I just buy their stock on the stock market, which probably has more upside because now they're going to be a traditional traded entity working in traditional markets. And so now I wonder what the upside is for their XRP token, right? So, and which one would actually go up further. So me personally, if I wanted to get exposure to the stablecoin market, I would probably look at Circle because they're
Okay.
publicly traded. I would look at different. I would also XRP, like I said, maybe go up. It's almost at its all-time high. So, do you think there's going to be more upside than downside? That's a personal thing. I think that there will be upside, but is it going to be 300 or 1,000x? I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? But if it's 50%, I think 50% more higher would be very it's a unsure bet, but it's safer than saying I'm going to hold it for the next 8 years and it's going to go 10x or whatever. I don't know that that's going to happen. I would look at Circle for stablecoins. I would look at, say, Ethereum, because everything runs through Ethereum, no matter if it's USDC or RLUSD. Everybody uses Ethereum in one shape or form.
Okay.
And I'll be looking at news that says which banks are going to be making their own stablecoins and how they're going to be implemented. If you want exposure to that specific industry of stable coins. Now, if you're just looking for a number go up and which cryptocurrency to buy, it's obviously Bitcoin.
And that's Bitcoin's also got an amazing track record too. I remember the very first time I heard about Bitcoin was probably 2010, 2009, 2010.
Give me 1 second, guys. I lost audio. So hold on.
You okay? Oh, that might be me.
Can you hear us, Ken? Ken?
Yeah. All right. I'm back.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Where do we cut off, Ken?
I heard the last part of what you said, but then the audio had like just cut about where you were talking about Circle.
Okay, so I just repeat the last thing is that that Circle, if you want to, you think what industries are you trying to get into? That's why I want to know like what you know and what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to get exposure to like digital currencies, then
Yes.
like I said, number could go up with XRP or whatever. Do I think that they're going to be I am not a bullish person on it, yet there are a lot of people that are for their own reasons. So I can't tell you what to believe in that stuff. I don't do it,
Right.
but I think that number will go up in the short term for XRP. 100%. long term, again, like I told you, what's the product market fit and how's that going to play out? If you just want exposure to digital assets, Bitcoin is going to be the guy. I would just go there to understand the market, understand how to buy and sell, and if first with that, and then figure out everything else. But if you want exposure to different industries within the traditional market, I would say circle on the traditional stock market. I would read about the different banks and who's going to issue their own stable coins to see if that's going to be a thing. Are they going to have any partnerships with, say, one of the Mag 7, Apple, Google, blah, blah, blah? Or is Apple, Google going to issue their own stable coins? That's a possibility. And then that will tell you like where the stable coin market could go. Again, I think the number will go more up with stable coins if they're tied to a publicly traded company. Because what we're going to do, what we're going to see there is these publicly traded company. Let's just say, let's just do a hypothetical. Apple says, I'm making a stable coin. It's going to be Apple dollar, right? It's now a stable coin. You give us $1, we'll give you a digital dollar to put into the ecosystem, and you can buy all this Apple gear with 3%, off or 10% off or something, or you could use it all these stores, whatever, right? What that does for them is now they're taking in straight cash and giving you nothing basically in return besides a voucher. And so now they're saying like, instead of saying like, hey, you buy my goods and I'm gonna make profit, or you buy my stock and we're gonna have to make profit to make value go up, we're just saying like, hey, we're gonna have a multi-billion-dollar cash infusion and we're gonna make money off of our money. And now that is gonna make number go up for their stock price. So now I would say, so my long-term goal would be here is say if a XRP, maybe short-term if you want to play, Bitcoin, obviously, if you just want cryptocurrency, but look to see who's going to make the stable coin, because then they're going to be just holding hard cash that they can play with. Not play with, but they can make money on money while those digital representations of dollars can go out there and do some work for them.
Yeah,
Makes
that makes
sense.
sense. So, I think what I'll take your advice on that and then take a look at a couple other things and actually circle and get back with a couple of friends of mine. Which actually, I would like to say, one of my friends is actually listening right now. So,
Nice.
the
Welcome.
friend that actually was trying to get me into XRP. Which is pretty good.
Well, we'll take his questions too.
So,
Send the link. Tell them to come in. XRP
Yeah.
people hate me because I'm not 100% bullish and saying like, oh, it's gonna go up to $75 in 10 years, and like I'm just not that guy. There's so many more factors in there, and we really have a new discovery of the market. And if you want to make money, there's money to be made. You just got to figure out where that's going to be. And I personally think when you see things like Michael Saylor and his company Strategy, and these other companies are putting Bitcoin on the reserves, what that actually is doing is they're taking a lot of capital and they're holding capital, and their stock price is reflecting their holdings, right? Their value of that they're creating over here, especially if the number of Bitcoin goes up. They're holding in the reserves, stock price is going up, people want exposure to a successful and valuable company. Now, I think people are going to do that with US dollars. Now they're just going to have a lot of cash reserves that now is going to be being flowed in there because they have a stable coin that they can issue. And if it's a big ecosystem like a Google or Apple or Bank of America or Chase that already has the velocity of money that can say, hey, Chase is conducting how many trillions of dollars a year in transactions? But then also in a digital dollar, and now they're printing that digital dollar out of somebody that gives them their money. Maybe they just convert it, in a different way, and now they're just using it to build yield and all kinds of different things that have different banking regulations. And they're holding more cash that's just flowing in because of whatever. I think that might be a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Or their stock.
So you've got some homework to do.
Well, thank you, Matt. I do appreciate you, and you know what? If you don't mind putting Matt's info, so I can send that out to couple of my friends.
The easiest way to get him is dailycryptonews.net. That's his website. He's also on Substack, and then I'll let him decide whatever other contact info he wants to give out.
That's it. dailycryptonews.net. You can find everything there.
Okay. Good.
Again, just one man opinion, and I could be absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong.
What do I tell people? Do your homework.
Yeah.
Crypto
There you go.
News.
Sorry. All right.
There's
Yours, I
space.
didn't hear what you said, but now I can.
Do your homework. That's what I tell people.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. It's not that hard, right?
So that, of course, is all one word. Matt Deemer, dailycryptonews.net is the website for the Daily Crypto News. I just typed it in there so you can read it better. dailycryptonews.net. And, yeah, do your homework. Let what we say here be your starting point. Don't take all of us as gospel. That's not what we do. That's what the other talking heads do, and that's why they get themselves in trouble. All right, man.
All right, Superfan King, nice to meet you, dude.
You too.
Yeah. Tell your buddy to call in and do whatever else, and we'll talk to him too.
Will do.
All right. Superfan Ken, thanks for what you do, buddy.
Yeah, too.
All right. Well, we don't want that set up. There we go. So did you finish the rest of the crypto report then? Did you talk about everything else you wanted to talk about with that?
I would say one last thing before we move on. I know I've been talking quite a lot this time, but it's you talk all week, Tim. So people miss me.
I talk for I was going to say I talk for, let me do the math here. I talk for all 7 of the remaining hours of the week. There's only one other hour where I get a co-host. So yeah, you're a welcome recess or break to start my weekend. Go ahead.
So we have two bills that kind of complement each other. The Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act, which prohibits the Fed from making a CBDC, which was also an executive order from Trump. And also we have the the Genius Act, which is giving you guidelines about how to make stablecoins. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, is I think that maybe the Fed is the lesser of evils here.
Okay.
Because what I just want everybody to realize what I think is happening is we're privatizing the US dollar. And I don't know, we're in the early stages of saying like, hey, of privatizing the US dollar, but it could be that, meaning that the private companies are going to have access to these stablecoins. Stablecoins is programmable money. It's on the blockchain. It's traceable and it's transparent. It's like I said, programmable money where you can have smart contracts figure out like where you spend, how you spend via GPS location to industry that you want to spend it in. You can, if it's centralized, it can be halted, it can be stopped, it can be diverted, it can be reversed, it can be all that stuff. Yes, you can still do that with money now, but the difference is the U.S. dollar it has never been a product. It wasn't a product of the United States. It wasn't a product of the Fed. It was a legal tender, right? We issue this because we need to find a way for the populace of our country under the central bank system to do transactions with each other. What I'm really worried about is your terms of services. Now, if say Circle issues a USDC or if Chase issues a Chase Bank digital dollar, that their digital dollar now is part of their terms of services. And we've seen that companies can block people, censor people, curb different speech, curb different things that they don't like. They can basically subvert us a lot of the protections of our constitutions because it's their product, right?
Right.
Kind of like we had the conversations with X and Twitter, and the Twitter files came out and said, "Hey, the Biden administration would be DM and Jack Dorsey saying like, hey, no, we really don't like this stuff. Can you please stop this?" And Jack Dorsey's like, oh, "Okay, we'll calm it down and we'll throttle the algorithm or whatever." That's because Twitter is their product, even though speech is their product now on Twitter.
Right.
So what does that do? What does this mean for dollars? What does this mean for I give you $1 and you give me your product? It's the same thing as buying a TV. We have smart TVs that collect data and blah blah blah. If you click their terms of services, when you go in there, and some TVs, they force you to update their operating system, or else you can't use it per their terms of service, so they can collect more data, so they can do the thing. And so I think that the slippery slope here is much more egregious when you have these private companies doing this, considering that. And the final thing I would say is that with all of these acts, and people are getting really excited about this, because they're going to make a lot of money in the private sector. And I'm talking about congressmen making a lot of money, and so is the Trump administration and whoever else is going to invest.
Right.
The congressmen are not codifying privacy protections for digital products, and this is something that needs to happen first. And so without the protections of speech or constitutional protections, and understanding what money should be used for, then I think that we're in a very dangerous place.
Yeah, I was going to say, as somebody that studied constitutional law for the past 20 some years, I see a blatant issue with the Fourth Amendment, which is unreasonable searches and seizures. That if they're privatizing money, they can get tax information, income information, and so on without a warrant, without subpoena, and really without any obstacles, which is exactly what the Fourth Amendment is designed to protect you from. If I'm still in law enforcement, I can't ask you to go ask Ken something that's incriminating and then go get you get other information for me. If you get that without my say so, that's different. But I cannot direct you to do that. You being a private citizen and me being a law enforcement agency or government agency. And that's exactly what I see happening with this, based on what you're saying today. And we talked about this before, actually, and that was a blatant issue then too.
Now, honestly, this is all slippery slope kind of thinking, and you would have to have a market saturation of these digital stable coins in these what's called branded dollars, private money, saturating the market for this to make be any kind of worry. But I doubt that. Anyway, so it is down the line. It's just I haven't seen us do it with the internet yet, and actually more so erode privacies from the internet. And I think that's one thing we saw that was happened today or happened this week in Ohio was now, and I think it's in Florida too, is that you need IDs to look at porn.
Yeah, Florida's that way.
Now I don't know if again we could talk about the kids. We I think it should be up to parents, like control your damn kids, But now you're really just saying like we don't have this ability to have a free open internet anymore, and it's more so with any kind of mainstream app or website or whatever, where they're almost not requiring or not allowing you to have anonymous accounts, or you have to register your information, and it's just even though it makes sense on the surface, it's privacy is important as well.
Yeah, but also common sense. The other thing we have down here in Florida is a ban on drag shows performing to children. Being a card-carrying member of the gay community for more than 30 years, I've been to my share of drag shows. One, I've never seen a kid at all at any of them. Two, they're all in a bar that serves alcohol. Another reason why I've never seen a kid in any of them. And three, if I would have tried to get in a bar as an underage kid, my dad's foot would be so far up my ass, I'd be turned into a sneaker. We're the parents' responsibility.
With your little fuzzy head, you have a little bit of a fuzzy little slipper.
Yeah, I'd look like Bunny Slipper.
Yeah, Bunny Slipper.
Pokemon. I was Pokemon cool before it was cool. But I mean, we're talking about giving rights to parents. How about giving them responsibility?
Agreed, 100%.
And
Parental rights means parental responsibility as well, and it's like you can't. Yeah, like this whole thing is just basically saying that your parents can't parent. We're gonna parent for you as the government. I mean, and I do get it as a parent. Like if there was like like drag times, story time at the library, I can see why you wouldn't. You'd be like, hey man, that's weird. I don't want you to go to do that. And some parents would be like, yeah,
Yeah,
let's go,
you know
let's
what?
go.
I
I don't
agree.
care.
I don't need to see any of my friends that do drag talking to kids that just are too
I think it's
confused
weird,
by the
honestly.
name and
I think it's
female.
super
Yeah,
weird.
me too.
Like, why would
Yeah,
I want a grown man dress up as a dress, like reading a story? Like, that's just weird.
yeah.
I'm
Uh,
not going. If you take your kid, that's fine. I'm not gonna go, and I'm not gonna take my kids.
it's hard for me because everybody turns and looks at me and says and expects me to be supporting the drag queens and whoever else, and I'm like, drag's not my thing. In all of my years to this day, I have not seen one entire episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't care. It's not my thing. We talk about, the freedom to be who you are. I was in a sports bar in West Hollywood when I lived in LA when RuPaul's Drag Race came on. Do you think they saved one television for the LA Kings hockey game? No. They had to put RPDR or whatever the hell it is, whatever the initials they use, on every fucking television in this small bar. And so I'm seeing my tab, and this guy says to me, "Where are you going?" "To a sports bar that plays sports."
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
get it. Art.
drag's always been weird for me. Like, people ask like, "Hey, do you want to go to this drag?" And I'm just like, because obviously I'm a Democrat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, to support the LG." I'm like, no, I think it's fucking weird. I just do. I think it's absolutely weird. I don't like it. I'm not going to hate on somebody. I'm not going to show hate, but but I'm not going. I don't find it entertaining. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's cute. It's not. It's not art. I mean, you can find it's art, sure. I just there's nothing about it that makes me go, yes, I want to do that.
I think
So
9 times out of 10, it's somebody that's dressed up in drag who can't sing, so they've got to do lip syncing, and it's just about being fabulous, so they got to be a woman because I don't know any fabulous guys. And so, yeah, there's one time that I saw a drag show that I would go back to in a heartbeat. It was this restaurant in San Francisco called Asia SF. And it was a bar, a circular bar in the center of the room with high tops around the perimeter. And it was a dinner theater. And the guys who were dressed up as women were lookalikes of the celebrity woman that they were dressed up as. So, in other words, if you're a guy and you dress up in the drag, it's because in drag you look exactly like Cher.
right.
And oh, by the way, when you sing live, you sound like her too.
Right.
That was fucking amazing. Cher, Tina Turner, Liza Minnelli, Barbara Streisand. I saw them all in one night. I'm done with my gay theater, with my gay concert going, and it didn't cost me thousands of dollars a ticket either for front row. My then boyfriend and I sat at the bar, which is the stage. That's where they perform on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, like I said, I would go back to that in a heartbeat. That was actually really cool. And
What should we call it? You remember Eddie Izzard?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Eddie Izzard was hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. But I mean, again, and then he dressed. And everybody who don't know, Eddie Izzard was a British comedian who dressed up in drag, and did his comedy show. Absolutely hilarious.
Is he? You say was? Is he dead?
Well, he doesn't do drag anymore.
Oh.
He's just Eddie now. Eddie Izzard is now just a dude that does comedy. At least that's when I saw him. I haven't seen him do comedy forever.
Yeah.
But he stopped the drag thing. I don't know why.
Last time I saw him, he was in the Oceans series of movies.
Oh,
He was
yeah?
kind of like this tech guy that they got some of their toys from to rob the casinos.
Eddie Izzard, dude. I didn't think about him for a long time. I'm gonna.
Yeah. What was it? What was his like? Most of his. What was his shtick? I mean, besides dressing up, doing it in drag, which just
Um,
was
I
kind
can't
of
remember,
fun.
dude. He's an old comedian, man. He's
Yeah,
20 years
he's
ago, so it's like
yeah.
that was prime Eddie 20 years ago. But yeah, I just saw a live Eddie Izzard live from Madison Square Garden, and he's. I'm trying to grab a shot so you can look at him.
I think when you do something like that from a venue like Madison Square Garden, you might as well just listen to the CD because you're not going to get you're not going to get a good view.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like small venue comedy. I mean, big venue comedies.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so that's my drag rant. Anyway, long story short is we were talking about what were we talking about? We were talking about privacy. And you're talking about the Fourth Amendment and things like that. And I think that you're right. This is a slippery slope here. And I think that we're seeing that there is a hand into adult behavior on the backs of saying we have to protect kids. And I think that's complete bullshit. Um,
Is it?
I
I was
think
going
it's
to say, is it trying to legislate morality?
I don't think it's not trying. I don't think it's trying to legislate morality. It might be okay. It might be that's the thing, but they're doing it on the backs of kids as like saying like, "Hey,
Yeah,
what about the
exactly.
kids?" And everybody's just like, "Oh, the
Back to
kids," because you
thing.
can't say "fuck the kids." You know, that's not
Right.
popular to say.
Yeah,
But I can
that's
say
because
just like yeah, like like what about the parents, dude? I don't. You think the parents are so are so stupid? Like I don't. It's their responsibility as parents. Every
right.
like growing
Right.
up, growing up, everybody. Wasn't my dad, but everybody. But my friends had the dad with. So my one friend's dad was like a porn connoisseur, the '70s, the big bushes and the big mustaches, and the sweaty guy and the. I mean, so he had the boxes full of these things, the old '70s Penthouse magazines and shit,
Ugh.
and of course we got in there and we throw those in the VHS. And you know what he would do if he caught us? He'll be mad. He'd be really mad. He would flip
After he
his
stopped
shit.
laughing.
Huh?
After he stopped laughing.
Yeah, I mean, he knew the game. I mean, we're teenagers. He knew what was up, but it was like, but I mean, he still had to do something as a parent. Like, get
Yeah.
out of there.
Did you like have to wait? Did you have to wait for them to go to the gym or work out?
Exactly. They're going to the store. You run downstairs. It's like your friend will call you, like, "Hey, bro, they left," and you run over to their house, and you one guy upstairs on lookout.
Oh, that sucks. That you just can't have a loud garage door opener or anything like that.
Yeah, they use their garage as storage. So they parked in the driveway, and their TV was downstairs in the basement, and so we would have to have somebody upstairs.
Oh, that sucks. Did you at least rotate out?
Yeah, there was rotation.
Oh, there would just be two. Because you know that guy, he's not really at the window. He's kind of around the corner at the stairwell trying to listen in and at least get the audio.
Yeah, exactly right.
All right. I'm going to take
That's
a break.
funny, dude.
When we come back, we'll get an update on Epstein, NPR, and PBS. I thought, I'm guessing the late night wins were the bills that you're talking about. I thought it was going to be the Senate pushed through the bill that withdraws money from funding to NPR and PBS.
Mm.
And I saw that there was a late night win in the House for this administration. So I thought, well, maybe they pushed it through too. And now he's going to sign that. But we'll find out in a minute. And then also Trump's health, something we kind of knew already, but now it's actually coming to the forefront. His health is not that great. So we'll talk about that when we get back too. And I'm going to go fix a cocktail because not only is it that time, but it's that sponsor. Wait till you see this. Very cool toy. When we come back, this is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network. As soon as I find the right video clip. There we go. We'll be back right after this. Hey gang, my name's Jurgs. I'm the CEO of the Jurger Group and Mastiff Media. We're partnering with Dare Media of Australia and are looking for new content. Do you have a podcast? Or maybe a live stream? Does it have a positive message? Is it about sports? Is it political? Is it news coverage? Is it for the LGBT community? Or is it even music? Don't forget, we're partnering with Dare Media of Australia. So not only could your program be heard on our stations here in the United States, but also in Australia. So if that's you, send us an email on air at jurgsradio.com. That's on air at jurgsradio.com. The jurgs.radio URL does not have email. On air at jurgsradio.com. And let's get you on air. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching. Dunk tanks. Sauna. Everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off. You can scream. You can yell. And you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness. All right, now check this out. See where I had it. There we go. Canton Branch. Talked about this earlier this week. This is one of their products. This is, oh, it even smells good. This is a bourbon smoker. Right here is the recipe for an old fashioned. A teaspoon of sugar, dashes of bitters, a teaspoon of water that's basically simple syrup, bourbon, and smoke. Well, I don't drink bourbon or any other whiskey, it's just my thing. However, as you all know, I am a rum guy. What we're going to do, set this on top. I'll show you the video of this in a second. Take the wood chips that come with your kit. This is maple flavored wood. Take this pinch of wood chips and put it on the screen in the center of that smoker. And now watch this. Get Matt out here so you can see this. All right, there we go. Cocktail, cigar torch, cocktail underneath, wood chips in the screen. The torch and the energy from the flame of the torch pushes the smoke down through the screen into the cocktail, smoking the inside of the glass and flavoring the cocktail. Now, here is a sugar-based cocktail, rum, that now has a maple flavor. You a bourbon guy?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I love old fashions.
That's exactly what this is for.
That's good. Big fan of a smoky old fashioned. Big fan.
I'll have to get you, because here's what is on the other side. Check this out.
Yeah, you basically just showed us all a old fashioned bong, and
Yeah.
uh,
And now, oh wow,
somebody's gonna be going a little night night here in a little bit. Then afternoon nap.
actually, I slept in today. Oh, that's so good. I'm gonna get you one of these made, and instead of on the back or on the one side, it's saying Mastiff.media. I'm gonna get dailycryptonews.net
There you go. That'll be fun.
with like a DCN coin or something.
There you go.
All right. So for the Epsteinth time, that was the title of one of our episodes earlier this week.
Clever.
Now, because of all of the fallout, we're finally getting the court of the various court documents, these files that supposedly were on Pam Bondi's desk. Now we got to go to a judge to get them released. Have you been following this any deeper than headlines?
Yeah, actually, I've actually been really deep on it. So I did the whole Epstein history plus. I've been keeping my tabs on what's going on with this. Yeah, very much so.
So how much of this do you think is bullshit? And how much of this is a real, we don't have anything anymore. We were wrong.
Complete bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
100% bullshit.
Well, I mean, I just love the fact that he uses the number 15 so much. Way back. Oh, I know Jeff. I've known him for 15 years. Now, all of a sudden, in 2019, he hasn't talked to him in 15 years.
Right.
I want to call bullshit on that alone. It just, when you were taught how to do word problems in elementary school math class, the last step of solving the problem was answering the question, does my answer make sense? This is pretty much, oh, hell no. None of this makes any sense. That you're just going to blindly say, yeah, we got nothing to see here. Let's move along to the next topic. And then you got sheep like Ben Shapiro and Benny Johnson saying, this administration has no reason to lie to me. Meanwhile, that's literally all he does is lie. So I don't get it. I don't get how easy these people just roll over. And what we're supposed to think is going to be released when whatever judge finally gets around to releasing whatever gets released, when this phase 1 that was done 5 months ago, back in February, was the biggest disappointment, at least in the first month of this administration. And that comes from the right-wing talking heads who said, why is that saying inactivity? Hold on a second. Who said they were expecting something more. I don't know what it is with the TikTok, but they think that I'm inactive when I'm not. I'm still here. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what people think they're going to get from these now so-called unsealed documents. He's controlling everything. He's been controlling the narrative, regardless of how accurate it is. What do these people expect is going to happen? And for those that are still supporting the guy, why?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah, but I also got to. Yep, just from our last segment, Super Van Ken says, yeah, drag isn't for everyone. Tell you, I used to be very afraid of them back in the day. It was until a drag queen did their own singing comedy setup that placed me. Yeah, when they can do it themselves, I'm not into lip syncing, especially because they're in small venues. you can tell if the artist is singing or not in the first place. You okay, mates? Oh, my poor dog gets upset stomachs quick. But back to this segment for Super Vince. I need an old fashioned right now, right about now. Yeah.
I would love an old fashioned. I would love
I
multiple
bet.
old fashions.
Yeah, it's that time. It's Friday.
Huge fan of old fashioned now, man. I gotta get to the gym after this.
Yeah.
go to Chipotle and then go to the gym.
Chipotle. So yeah, I don't what's coming next. Now he's there's a video here I'm going to play in a minute where he calls Republicans stupid. And
there's some, okay, so this is I think this is probably one of the most egregious things I've seen. It's that we've been baited, and look, we don't know what's in the files, so we have to, as much as we want to assume like there's this huge child trafficking ring with the top elite that's just went down there just for underage, indulgences. We don't really know that, but we do know there's a lot of connections. We don't know if he's if what the connections really are, but we know that there's some kind of financial and political entanglements that go to the highest echelons of government and intelligence and finance and yada yada. So let's just keep that. And it's probably a lot of illegal activities, not only obviously money laundering, tax evasion, but also obviously because Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008, which was also kind of weird. There's a lot more egregious things that are happening, but we've been sold this bill of goods by especially Trump, on the campaign trail that says, hey, there's this whole thing of pedophile rings and blah blah blah, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this, and then it's just like, hey, there's nothing to see here. This is it's a litmus test, and I personally think that this with social media, with the ability for people with platforms to be able to dig and get information. There's some things you just can't lie to us about anymore. You can't
right.
talk to us about the foreign wars. We see them on the ground. Every person in either Afghanistan or Gaza or Israel or Ukraine or Russia, they have a cell phone and they're recording the shit, right? So there's only so much you can get away with. There's only so much you can get away with if there's any kind of information out there that's on the internet that somebody's not going to find, compile, and put together and start drawing more accurate conclusions. This isn't MLK Jr. This isn't JFK. This isn't 9/11. This isn't some conspiracy theory kind of thing that's thrown out there where it's not ubiquitous, where people can fact check and go. This is not this where you kind of have the American people going like, hey, it could have been the CIA, it could not have been, who knows. This is not that now. We're at a point of there's some questions that we need answered, and you said you're going to give them to us, and you're now telling us completely the opposite of what our eyes and our ears and our keyboards and everything that we can compile can tell us. And it's absolutely it's the most egregious thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, what I don't get, what I think is fascinating, is that he just is, for years, we've had fact checkers counting into the tens of thousands the number of outright lies told by 1.0 and 2.0 and everything in between of this administration. Now we get to this and everything that you're saying, and it's just this total 180. We're going to release the files and release and tell everybody in the list and this, that, and the other thing. And now they say, well, there's no actual list. You'd have to go through the documents and establish a physical list to compile a list. Yeah, I think that's what everybody was kind of expecting from the beginning. It's not like somebody like this doing activity that they know is illegal and immoral is going to keep, a dossier and, an account of how much each person owes them for the underage ladies that they provide. I'm trying to be respectful to the victims. And not
No, those are children, sir. You need to say what it is. Those children, they're ladies now.
Exactly. Yes. instead of using some of the verbiage I might have used 30 seconds ago, yeah, it's not like they're going to keep a line item list of all the people that are quote unquote clients. But I Googled Clinton Epstein. And yeah, there are some photos of Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. Most of them are clearly photoshopped to be put together, like, and I don't mean like to make it fake look real, but I mean split screen. Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, different backgrounds, whole thing. You can tell they're two separate photos. There are some where they're together. And when you realize what this guy did, and now also what he allegedly did, because there's apparent ties to the intelligence community, which I talked about this earlier this week too. 100%, I believe Epstein Island was a safe house. Just because everything that's on the island and accessible and who this guy had access to, there's no question that one of the intelligence communities, if not the CIA, was using this as a storage facility for human intelligence. Keep this guy here for a while until we can put him somewhere else. And that's why he's got the access to Clinton and Trump and everybody else. The problem with Trump is that when he had access to Epstein, he wasn't even close to ever being president. So that reason is out the window. What does that leave? When in this search of Clinton, I can put it up. Hold on a second. In this search that I did of Clinton and Epstein, I get plenty of undoctored pictures of Trump. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not asking for Trump and Epstein. I'm asking for Clinton. Like, here's one of Bill and Epstein, and there's probably Bill getting a massage or something. I can't tell if that's Hillary or if that's no, that's not Hillary. No, too young. But here's clearly this one here is they're not in the same room together. That's just something that some newspaper did or whatever, because Sky News did that because they're talking about both in the same article. Great. Where's the others? Here's one with why am I getting this as a result if he's got nothing to do with it? That's Trump. Where do we get one of the others? Where the hell is that? Here's this one. Doesn't look good. That looks like something's been cut out or something. Whether that's really Ghislaine Maxwell and Clinton but it doesn't cost you a lot for people like this to get a picture like that. She could have paid her $50,000 at a fundraiser event, and boom, she's in.
I know plenty of people with pictures with Clinton and Obama and whatever.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. I don't really care to speculate who's in the who's in the files. I don't care. I honestly don't care unless it's confirmed. The speculation of your guy, my guy, this guy, that, I don't give a shit. It's just stupid fluff. The fact is there's allegedly 1,000 victims of trafficking, and a lot of them are kids, and people are going to bullshit and gaslight it. Now, there's two things, and I think there's a statement I heard that I think is the best. Either A, you're gaslighting us and hiding the fact that kids were getting raped, and it was getting raped by people on an island that that now you're just denying it exists, even though you know it exists, which is egregious. Or you lied about people kids getting raped for the benefit of your political campaign, and use that. So any way you look at it, the whole thing is fucked up. And now you're gaslighting people that it doesn't exist. So in my opinion, I all of these like details about who were there, Trump and Clinton, I don't give a shit right now unless we get it proven, because you can't prove it. we have a litmus test of the United States of America and the American people. It's either A, you believe what your eyes see when it comes to either A, like this, or foreign wars, or the complete lies, or you're not. And there's a lot of cope coming from a lot of people, and I think it's probably around the 10%. And there's a lot of whataboutisms, and that's why I don't want to get into it. And it's like,
Yeah.
hey, Trump has pictures with Epstein. Well, what about Clinton? I don't give a shit. Or well, Trump lied about this, and then they'll say, well, what about the border? He's doing that. It's like those are two different things. Those are two different things. One's the border, one's kids getting raped. You got to do them both.
Yeah.
Or hey,
That's
and so this is a litmus test of the United States of America. I really think that the United States people and the comfort that we have, and honestly, it's comfort. It's a complete comfort of great lifestyles, of no wars on our soil, of amazing prosperity, of a lot of consumerism that we have accessible for $5 a month, or $10 a month subscriptions, that are able to very easily turn a blind eye to some of the most egregious atrocities because it's uncomfortable to speak up.
yeah.
And this honestly is the one that I overlooked a lot of different things in the past year of saying like, this is how it is. But this is like, I think this is probably the most egregious I've seen of complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's the American people that's going to have to come to terms with it.
I don't know where I'm at on the scale, like with some of the other things compared to this. This is without question as bad as it gets. When, especially because we're talking about the safety and the integrity and the innocence of children. But that's the dilemma that I have right now is the constitutional violations that this guy did outright without thinking twice. Is that just as bad when you consider what could be the future of our country and
Yeah,
the protection of a lot of children way beyond the amount that was violated at Epstein Island?
and just to further that, it's like how much of that was that the law that was broken by him that was overlooked by even the federal government, during the whole time. And I think one thing that we're starting to piece things together is like the 2008 conviction, his conviction, and how they're supposed to notify the victims of the conviction, and that didn't even happen until 2018, and how
Right.
he got such a sweetheart deal. And he was on like, it's like all of this stuff just doesn't make sense, and it's all
Right.
either connections, or if there's even more nefarious stuff, like if it's CIA or relationship, or some kind of intelligence relationship, and like you said, safe house, maybe working as a safe house, maybe as a middleman to connect, very empowered people. Who knows?
And that's
And
another.
one thing I think they brought up, and I think I didn't send this to you, but Sagar and Jetty, he went on the Flagrant podcast yesterday and did like a 3-hour breakdown of just the timeline of Jeffrey Epstein, his business practices, his life, his education, and how he got into it. And it was really interesting. Um, but one thing that I think that we have to take a step back, and I think that we are going a little bit too far. We're saying like, well, there's a whole pedophile. We don't know that. We don't
Right.
know what's on. When we say what's on the tapes, and we have incriminating evidence on tapes, it's not people just maybe having sex with kids. There could be a lot more things. Like maybe you had a meeting with Clinton. He didn't know that your room was bugged and there was cameras, and he said some crazy shit about insert head of state here, or told secrets about his relationship with his wife, or there's a lot more things that could have been incriminating on those tapes than just you know um, uh, child trafficking or prostitution and things like that. It could be state secrets that he's blabbing out to Jeffrey Epstein. If it's Clinton or whoever, it could be insert official here, right? Um,
Right.
so we don't know what's on those tapes, and it could be, and even though the American, I'm sorry, just the I guess the lore of this is becoming, I think, bigger than maybe the actual truth, which I think is a possibility. We do have to keep that in consideration, but understand that there is also that other aspect to it, of that there is this coordinated ring of maybe his perversions, or maybe a small group of people perversions that were overlooked. And one thing we said last week too, yours, and I think people have to also realize this. Last week we said people don't know what it's like to be a billionaire, because they people are surprised with all these things because they don't have access. They don't have access to having $100 million and understanding what it means to move around the world and country, and the things that there's markets and people who cater to your high wealth needs, and you'll never see that as somebody who shops at Walmart. You just won't, you know. It's somebody who lives outside of the world that you live in, and you don't know that world, right?
Correct.
And these are different individuals, and at the same time, the people in the intelligence space and the things that people who do egregious things are not normal people. So as we at the same time, we're sitting here saying like, the CIA or intelligence people have these operatives around the world, that we think that they're just us over there, like typing on the keyboard and going to work and having these moral things like, hey, this is bad and that's good. You hire some fucking psychopaths to do some shit, and you got and they cover that up, because if you need them to do the thing, you know they're psychopaths. And those psychopaths are, if you're going to have somebody just torture people or in Guantanamo, they also have this whole like weird fetish of, whatever the hell else they're going to do. And you're covering it up because you had to have the psychopath to do the psychopathic thing for the greater good, in air quotes. And so, like, let's just not believe that these people don't exist and they're just you. That they wake up in the morning, goes to Walmart, gets a latte, a macchiato or something at Starbucks, and then comes back and watches reruns of Star Trek. No, this guy's a psychopath that tortures people.
That's what I was going to get into a second ago, is when we go undercover in the law enforcement community, there's still a standard of behavior that we have to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain crimes that we allow to happen to maintain our cover, to as long as we didn't influence those crimes and not make it entrapment, to build a case against the target, against the suspect. But I, as a federal agent, can't murder anybody while undercover.
Right.
That there's a line. And so when you're establishing, I get it, intelligence agencies, while we in the law enforcement community enforce the law, it's oftentimes the responsibility of intelligence agencies to break the law.
Right.
And I get that. That's what they do. That is the ugly thing. That is that life.
And I think you're 100% right.
There is a line that you don't cross.
You're 100% right. I mean, look, but again, if you're an intelligence agency, and I think that this is 100% a thing, you correct me if I'm wrong, that if you need some really weird shit to happen, like some really weird torturing, to go infiltrate some really weird places, to become some really weird, or just be a really weird person, you know who you're getting. And those are those are the psychopaths that maybe would probably be locked up for life in jail for doing some of the things that they do, because you're hiring them because of the crazy ass person who it is.
Right.
And so, yes, they might be ripping fingernails off of some guy and throwing salt in their eyeballs over in Guantanamo. At the same time, probably diddling kids.
And that's, you can find. I've learned enough with having studied the criminal element, and as a Secret Service agent, we're also a member of the intelligence community as well. Nothing on these lines, obviously, but. In fact, I've got a couple stories about that too. I told earlier this week, I forget who it was, but there was this one guy from Southeast Asia who was a known pedophile. And when he came to the UN every year, he was not allowed outside of his hotel.
Oh, you told me this.
Yeah, except to go to the UN.
Right.
And so we would know of, people from his community, if it was whatever Southeastern country, those people who live here in the United States would bring their children to the airport hotel, where this guy was staying, to spend time with their country's president or king or whatever the hell he was. And what was going on, but there was nothing we could do about it. And it's just like, yeah,
So I say all this because it's not unbelievable to think that, let's just say, a lot of this stuff might be, you know, maybe not even a huge blackmail ring where that's how he got all his power and stuff like that. But there's enough state secrets, enough conversations, enough, things like that that he has in these files or on the cameras that are, very sensitive. At the same time, the United States government was turning a blind eye to his personal, perversions, and maybe a close, a couple people around him as well. Who knows who they are? But maybe he liked the like, as Donald Trump said, he likes him young.
Yeah.
and and there's a couple of people, but that also is part of this whole bigger thing that the United States government let that happen. They turned a
Right.
blind eye,
Oh,
because he was making the connections, because he was funneling the money, because he was selling the arms, because he knew the people and the bankers, because he can get billions of dollars, because he knew how to move money out of the scenes, and at the same time has a whole treasure trove of tapes of Clinton confessing how he hates his wife and or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, my other issue with it is the integrity of these so-called files. This is how old. My oldest case that I ever worked when I was in the Washington field office. I was at one point for a short while the case agent on John Hinckley, and I did some of the surveillances on him when he was let out of St. Elizabeth's Hospital and allowed to go home to his mom in Southern Virginia. And we had a room, a filing cabinet in our squad area, a room that was this whole entire wall of filing cabinets was just this one case from as back as 1981 to the 2012 area of time, and like that was somebody we pretty much didn't care about anymore. We're just not wanting him to get out and do the same thing over again. This guy's different.
Hmm.
This guy's done stuff for us, possibly.
Right.
Legally. This is something that there is going to be some level of corruption in the protection of his reputation. And so it's happened already just with this administration, forget about any of the others. They released phase one, and the right wing talking heads that they released this data to are like, are you kidding me? You expect us to believe this is phase one? Because there was literally nothing in it. They spent all that money on 3-ring binders to put blank paper in it, virtually, with a pretty cover sheet that said confidential written across the top.
Phase one.
Oh, congratulations, you're getting confidential information. No, you're not. You're not getting anything. You're just supposed to be stupid enough to believe there's something there. And they weren't. With the exception of Ben Shapiro and Benny Johnson and some of the others. But I think that's why Dan Bongino has his panties in a wad. And, kudos to him for remaining at least a little bit consistent in that he's been talking up a good game about how there's conspiracy theories and we need to release these files and blah, blah, blah. Now it's game day. And he's, being forced to say that there's nothing to see here. And he knows that's not true. Maybe it's not as sexy as what everybody wants it to be, but nothing to see here is not the right answer. I'm going to sneeze.
Right.
Be right.
At you. I don't know
dogs. If it's the dogs or the smoke.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, I agree with you that there's nothing to see here is not the answer right now. And I hope that the American people don't just let this go. I don't think they will, though, because of just the history of American people and other conspiracy theories in air quotes.
But that's the problem that I have with the American people. They have short memories, and they're a little too quick to forgive. If you don't believe me, then answer how this guy got a second term in the first place.
Well, I told you I put the blame on that strictly on the Democrats.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that could have been done way differently as well. But still, if all you have to say is, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, who is at least going to let me vote for somebody else in 2028, versus not having to vote ever again, his words.
Yeah, I
That
disagree
doesn't
with you
scare
there.
you?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I disagree.
What? How do you think he was joking?
I don't know. But the only person that proved that I didn't have a choice was the Democratic Party with their primary system and not
Yeah,
allowing one.
get over that. Get over that. I know
I'm not.
as a
Don't
Democrat,
don't tell me that you're going to lose your right to choose and then say get over the thing that we just lost.
that was also an unprecedented. We all thought he was going to, and in retrospect, I kind of did too, even though I didn't realize I thought it at first. Yeah, he did make me believe that it was going to be one and done. And of course, they were talking about Joe Biden. And now that he's saying I'm going to run for re-election, that's his right.
No, it's not his right. That is not a right.
Yes, it
That
is.
is not a right.
For him
Running
to
for
make that
re-election is
decision.
his right to run, but it's not. But it's not his right. Like you say, oh, I have the right to. Yeah, no.
No,
He
for,
can.
to
It goes
make
up to the
to make
American people
that
to
decision,
choose.
to make that decision.
He had to make. He made the decision.
Yeah, that's his right to make that decision to run for
Sure, there you
re-election.
go.
Whether or not the party puts up any other viable candidates in a primary, and there's historic precedent there. Obviously, nobody who's ever done that to a sitting president in the same party ever had it end well for them.
Right.
So that's not Joe Biden's fault or the Democratic Party's fault. That's history. That's
Right.
case law, for lack of a better term. Once he stepped down, yeah, there was no primary had. I get that. Not the best situation. But in the timeliness and when he did that, and maybe we got to blame Biden for it, I don't think the Democratic Party had another choice. They didn't have time in what, July to now we're going to start primaries. It's something the rest of the world did 6 months ago. I don't think they had the time, and I think forcing Kamala Harris in there to give it a best shot was the only thing they had.
Well, we can agree to disagree.
Unless she said, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do it, which nobody in that position is ever going to say that. Nobody gets chosen, and this is me as a political scientist talking, nobody gets chosen to be vice president because they're going to be a good successor. They get chosen to be vice president to
pick up votes.
To fill a demographic void, but also to toe the line.
Right.
When comedians talk about whacking the president and their would-be assassin doesn't, because they realize this guy is going to be the vice president, or this guy's going to be the new president, they go, oh shit, that makes matters worse. That's why, Robin Williams had jokes like that all the time about George Sr. and Dan Quayle.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, I whack him, this guy becomes president? Oh shit, and he throws his rifle down. That's unusual. Dan Quayle, Al Gore, both shit sandwiches. The only one that would have been a remotely decent leader and strong-arm type of president was Dick Cheney, who from day one said, oh, hell no. So nobody in Kamala Harris's position is actually going to say, you know what, I'm not qualified for this, even though she was the first one in the Democratic primary back in 2020 to drop out. and pretty much had not been seen from ever since until he made that decision. She was put in a back burner during the administration because too much of the things she touched turned to shit. And so, yeah, I mean, I would have loved to see Biden say, you know what? I think the best choice is actually Secretary Pete. We're going to get behind him. I'll see you in Rehoboth Beach.
Yeah.
But the fact that they didn't have a primary, I'm not pissed off about that.
Oh.
I'm more pissed off because they didn't fight Trump more aggressively, and they're not doing it now either. When you have
we can
this
disagree.
guy,
We'll just disagree. Go ahead.
Well, that's all right. I want you to rebuttal, but when we have what this guy's doing, everything that he's doing, and then on the other hand, we have an entire other party with a worse approval rating than he's got, that's not good.
No, agreed.
But I don't think
there.
I don't think that it's solely because there was no primary in 2024.
I think it is.
I don't think they had a choice.
I think that it all stems from the primary. Now, what I would say about the primary and why we have such a low approval rating for the Democratic Party right now isn't because of whatever. It's because they didn't allow the marketplace of ideas to take hold. The people wanted something different. That's why Trump got the votes, and Kamala Harris wasn't something different. It wasn't addressing the issues. It wasn't addressing anything that the American people wanted. Maybe sometimes or people just voted because they didn't want the other guy. The fact is a primary is for the marketplace of ideas to take hold. And yes, you had enough time, in my opinion, and it could have been a speed primary, 2 weeks, get it one and done, let's go. But it would have allowed that people to have different ideas about how they wanted their government ran. It would have coalesced at least another 2% of Democrats that came out and said, at least this is the guy that I want. And it went through this primary. And I think that would have been enough, to be honest with you. So so now we have, but wait, just give me a second. Now we have, in my opinion, the Democratic Party looking is just as preposterous and hypocritical as anything else we want to compare to the right, is because we ran and we talked about for 4 years about the protection of democracy. And then you didn't allow the Democratic Party to choose their own candidate for fucking president. I'm sorry, dude. It broke. Even if it's 2% of the Democrats, you fucked up for those 2%, and I am part of that 2%.
Well, and that's my point. That's my other point. I'm going to throw this out there. If it needs to be edited, do it now. Was this decision made for Biden to step down in like July or August? When was that exactly? Did he step down? Because the
something like that, June or July, August. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, so July or August. And like I said earlier, we've had some states that have been having primaries and caucuses and whatever else.
Oh, yeah, we had our primary in March or April or something.
Exactly.
I can't remember.
What do you tell Pennsylvania? What do you tell Ohio? What do you tell New Hampshire, who've already made their choice? Do you give them an opportunity to do it again?
Yes. Remember, it wasn't, but we'll go back to say that it wasn't our choice. We had people on the ballot, but we had people taken off the ballot. Dean Phillips was a contender. No. He was somebody who said you could say that he wasn't able to win, but he was also somebody who was bullied out by the Democratic Party and pushed off of ballots in multiple states until he dropped out and had to concede. We didn't even have another person on the ballot besides Joe Biden.
And you never do. We talked about that. That is usual.
Again?
That is usual re-election procedures.
Sure. And now would you ask anybody if they wanted another choice?
But
look, the fact is the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. The Democrats lost. So regardless if you think it's a good thing or a bad thing or there's no other choice, the Democrats lost.
Because I think they should have come out with, instead of saying, here's Kamala Harris, she's the best thing that there is, she's going to be our first female president. I think you say this situation sucked. We made a decision at a late stage in the game. But if you vote for me, Kamala Harris saying this now, if you vote for me now, I promise you, you will have the chance to vote for anyone else in 2028. That's what a real leader would have said.
And we remember as well as they stacked the deck at the caucus, and that was the other thing that we had another choice. It wasn't just the American people in Pennsylvania or whatever. It went back to the DNC, and they had the caucus, and they stacked the deck there, and everybody said 38 votes for Kamala Harris when their party chairs came up. There was one dissenting vote in Ohio, by the way.
Yeah, was that you?
No, I wasn't part of the caucus.
You know, that's a good question. I never asked that in all the times you ran for Congress. Are you also a delegate?
I chose not to be a delegate because I didn't want Joe. I was going to vote for Joe Biden. I was a proponent against Joe Biden running again. And so when the time came for me to run for as a delegate, which they did ask me to be a delegate, I was just like, or to run to be a delegate, I was like, there's no way, because I could not
Yeah.
run to be. And so actually, I did vote for the delegates, and I voted for people that I thought would have voted against this kind of stacking the deck. And so when you're a delegate, I don't know if people understand, at least in Ohio, you have to write on a card pledging your vote already for who you're going to vote for. So it's basically it was stacked up. The deck was stacked up and down. So it's like, hey, my name is Matt. I'm in this district, and I'm going to vote. But if I'm going to vote for delegates that are going to vote for Joe Biden, and if I'm a delegate, I'm going to be voting for Joe Biden. There was no Dean Phillips, and people who wrote Dean Phillips on the card got thrown out.
Yeah.
So I did there, and I did vote, and I voted for people that I thought would have independent thought. And it looks like they didn't have an independent thought in there, so I'm kind of disappointed with my vote, with me voting for the delegates. But I did not want to run because I was not going to vote for Joe Biden.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I get the Democratic situation was not ideal. It wasn't even good. It wasn't even acceptable. But I think at the end of the day, it's still better than voting for a fascist. And to do the Blake Fisher disclaimer, I'm not calling him a fascist because I disagree with Donald Trump. I'm calling him a fascist because he is one. And that's a small list that I've got when it comes to American politicians.
I think that with our democracy, there is no reason that we just always pick the lesser of the evils. And especially at that situation, we're fucking ourselves as Americans, and it's a litmus test of what we think a democracy in our country should be, and we're capitulating to complete idiocy right now.
I believe that
was a joke. That whole primary was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke of democracy. It was an abortion of democracy, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am pro-choice, so it is an abortion of a democracy.
I believe that starts with Congress. There is no reason for Congress. I mean, look, I'm looking at our next segment, which I don't know that we're even going to have time to have, but with NPR and PBS funding. And the Rolling Stone title of their article says, Republicans obey Trump. That's not what Congress does.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
And until there's term limits in Congress, thereby giving them a reason to do something while they are there and to establish a legacy for their time in Congress, that's not going to change. They're going to be, until we get the adversarial thing with like a Democratic Congress and a Republican White House, it's going to be, this Democratic Republic is going to be closer and closer to an authoritarian regime like it is now.
I also think that what we're seeing play out as well is because the Democrats can't get their head out of their ass, and they're still trying to run 80-year-old people into office. We're still seeing if Sherrod Brown, which I really like, but he should not run again for governor of Ohio or for Senate again. They keep running these old people.
Or the old man Jewish guy from New York.
Cuomo.
No, the senator.
Schumer.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer.
So anyway,
Bernie,
we just mentioned that we had Brown, we had Schumer, we have Cuomo, we have our we have Marcy Kaptur here in Ohio, Joyce Beatty, we have Nancy Pelosi, we have Maxine Waters, we have all of these old fucks, right? And then people are going to be pissed because the Democratic Party, and this is one thing I will give the Republican Party props for, is they're recruiting young people to do the thing. JD Vance is a 40-year-old dude, man.
right,
Like that's somebody who they were smart. They said we need people that is our ideology. We're gonna pick that guy. He's younger. He's gonna be out there. He's gonna be able to talk to younger people with younger culture reference and blah blah blah, and be more nimble and quick on his game. And we're gonna get that guy. We have people like, even if you're talking about the cabinet, Scott Besson is what 50, 55,
yeah,
or whatever. So it's like
yep.
everybody's younger. And then you have Vivek Ramaswamy running for governor over here.
They,
He's
they
he's
all
30
are,
he's 38 or something.
They all
And
are. Hegseth, I mean, whether or not you agree with their appointment, at least from the concept of bringing in fresh blood, they're
100%.
all
Bonjingo or whatever his name is, or I don't even know his name, but whatever.
yeah.
Bonjingo,
No, Bongino. Dan Bongino.
Bojangles, whatever his name is.
I just call him pencil neck, bobblehead.
So pencil neck, he's young. And look, there's Tulsi's
He looks like
young.
a bobblehead doll.
And then you have Caroline Levitt. She's what, not even 30, and she's
Yeah, correct.
and
She's like
she's
28.
now the spokesman of the White. This is and honestly, the White House's
We
Twitter
haven't.
and X game
I
is.
looked into that. We have not seen a White House press secretary that young since George Stephanopoulos.
People don't understand. Like, she looked young because black don't crack, but what's her face? That of the Biden administration. She's like 50 something, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's in her 50s. She's pushing retirement, and it's like she looks great, but she's still pushing retirement. It's around the corner. And so then they come in with fresh ideas. And to be honest with you, the White House TikTok and the White House tweets and their social media presence is honestly pretty fire. You don't have to agree with it, but it is at least modernized to modern audiences. So it's like the Democrats are fucking killing. And so what I was going to say about this is the Democrats are kicking themselves and are going to be fucking themselves. And what you're going to see come out of the Democratic Party because of frustration, while the Democratic Party is still clutching their fucking pearls, is you're seeing people like what's his face from New York, Mamdani.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the Democratic Party is starting to fracture, going like, "Hey, you guys keep doing this stupid shit over here. We're just going to start organizing and doing this over here." And so you see people like this. What's her face? Fox out of.
Hold on a second, right there, because I did a segment on this yesterday. I had to kind of rush it because of time. We can use the remaining 9 minutes to talk about it further. And you and I have talked about this before, and you're not of the opinion yet, but I think you might be swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a time for third parties?
No.
Still not.
Well, because we see that we see what's happening right now. What's going to happen is, in my opinion, the parties have been being remade from the inside for many times. That's what you're going to have to do. Trump remade the Republican Party.
Became MAGA. Tea Party became MAGA and took over the Republican Party. Now you're seeing a splinter in the Democratic Party.
And it's going to be Democratic Socialist sort of thing kind of coming up. Obama did it with the Democratic Party before, and he took it and made it his own. And everybody was Obama Democrats. Clinton kind of did it, but it was kind of like a pretty easy transition from like George W. or H.W. Bush to Clinton.
I also think Clinton was smart enough to realize not to go too much too far too soon. He's always been for gay service and gay marriage and gay this, that, or the other thing.
He
was smart enough to realize that our country at the time was not, which is why he came up with Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Mm-hmm.
I was so disappointed at the number of gays I see motherfuck him for not allowing them to serve openly. Like, dude, it's not about you. It's about the other side also. And those conservatives were just as pissed off for allowing them to serve at all.
Yeah, they were pissed.
And that was Clinton's genius, was that, yeah, okay, they're both going to be pissed at me, but we're not going to lose any numbers in the military.
Right. Right.
And at the end of the day, what the Bible thumpers don't know won't hurt them, literally. And I think that was his genius with a bunch of different things, was that he was able to see far enough ahead to only take the country so far when that's what was necessary.
I mean,
somebody-
going back to your third party thing, I think the only person that could do it, like I said, would be Elon Musk right now. But I
No.
don't think he can because I think his ego will be in the way.
That, and I think it's his reputation and his reputation is too tarnished.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
admitted to buying the presidency, and then literally on inauguration day leaving for Europe to do it over there.
what he needs to do is he would need to just fund it and find somebody who's charismatic to run it, or a team of charismatic people. Like, he would have to find some. I don't know who he would do. Maybe recruit people from the Republican Party, like whoever he feels that.
That type of person is different from all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I've stood around enough of them to know they will want to have their hands in it.
100%, 1000%. There's no way. There's no way that he could leave it alone. But I think he would need to.
Well, we got somebody else to join us now for a minute. Glenn Sportcat Jackson and the Daily Crypto.
Sportcat, my favorite MAGA.
The Daily Gazette.
I love how I come in and I get instantly a Band-Aid put over me that says what I am. So he has no idea what I am. So
I have no idea what you are.
But
it makes for good radio.
Maybe if you had your camera on, we'd have a better idea.
Well, I'm naked, so I can't.
Naked.
Oh, there we go.
That's right. I'm doing an all new show, Nude MAGA from the South.
MAGA?
There it is.
Are you half staff or full?
Buddy, I am at full attention.
I gotcha.
Get the Bombay doors open. I am at full staff. So,
gotcha. Understood. That's the only way we do it over here on Newz Radio. I mean, we don't play with that half mast.
I think my headphones are smoking, and not because of the bourbon smoker we used earlier.
All right. Well, I ain't got time for y'all silly name calling games. What do you got there? Oh, you got a. What the heck is that?
I'm dropping embers. Did I show you my bourbon smoker?
No, I have not seen your bourbon smoker. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm full with. I'm going with a glass of rum that I used it in, but you put wood chips in the screen there that's in the center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then set it on top. Light the wood chips with a cigar torch, and let it steep in the smoke. And then you have the flavor, whatever wood you put in. I got 6 different flavors here: cherry, maple, apple, pecan, oak, and bourbon soaked oak.
Well, I don't put any of that stuff in my dipstick, but I wouldn't mind trying that. That sounds
wow.
good.
This is getting really. Are we still talking about? We're just still doing this at full staff over here. I don't know what's going on.
That's the way it stays here in the South. So.
Hey, it's time for a weekend, Eric. Friday guest. One's naked and the other is folding laundry. Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered what he was doing there. Was he packing to come see you? I mean, his favorite.
You're your mom's, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm taking off today. I'm going to my brother's.
All right. Where's that?
So a homeless Democrat. Cool.
I mean, that's what we all are.
We used to have a homeless conservative. Now we got a homeless Democrat.
Wow. All right.
Oh, that's right. You're a single homeless Democrat.
Ooh.
I'm just trying to figure out how I can get on the dole right now and get some of that SNAP benefits and
you got to be an illegal alien. You're an American. You're not going to get that shit. So
son of a bitch.
Yeah. Just you're not brown enough.
Yeah, that's it. Just gonna change your name. I don't know. Go out in front of Home Depot or something. Maybe they'll pick you up. So.
I looked the part.
All right. Well, I ain't got time for y'all shenanigans. It is Friday,
Right.
but we are loaded with news today. So we got a breaking story out of LA right now. So, oh wow, yours is at full attention too, there, buddy.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
Let's
see why
go.
you keep that under glass. So I'd polish that a little bit if I was you, if you know what I mean. So, so yeah, we got a breaking news story out of LA happening. Questions are arise. Was it an accident? Was it intentional? But there was an explosion. So we're gonna dive into that.
Okay.
And I may circle back and review the New York City story because now they're saying that, well, the guy could have possibly terrorist ties where initially they buried the story. So I may circle around and see that.
What? Yeah, apparently they buried it well enough. What story is that?
Well, apparently this guy was in a white Chevy, like an old beater van, and he was towing a trailer right in the middle of downtown Manhattan. He made a turn and his trailer clipped a parked car. I mean, that happens every day. Accidents occur. Well, they get there. He's unlicensed. He attempts to run. He tries to throw the keys down in the sewer drainage, and NYPD starts smelling gas or some kind of chemical coming out of the van. So they quickly back off, call FDNY. FDNY tried to get the keys because it would be easier than having to use something, maybe sparks, to open the van. He had over 75 gallons of gasoline, diesel, and I can't remember how many propane tanks. And at first they said, he was just going around the surface.
The propane tanks weren't just your basic grill 15-pounders. They were 20-pound tanks.
Yeah, they were the big boys. So
yeah.
So they tried to say initially that, oh, well, he was just servicing the food carts, but he's unlicensed, he's undocumented, and, well, turns out there may be some other nefarious things, but
where's he from? That's always an indicator.
They're not saying, but supposedly, peace, dude. Go polish your MAGA.
Go polish my staff. I see ya.
Go see you next week, buddy. Great job.
I heard one report he was out of Egypt, but I haven't read that yet. So that was just something I heard. So
yeah, that ends well.
And then there's a terrorist alert down in your part of the woods. So I'm going to cover that. It was an actual issued. Well, they're saying that it's on ex-Special Forces members. They released a memo yesterday to Special Forces retired and active that there's a threat in Florida, active threat. It's like a code red. So that's something. And then, of course, Trump has a vein disease that the media is trying to blow up, but it's a big nothing.
Get to that yet?
Yeah, it's a big nothing story. You're going to get it when you get old too. It's just, it happens.
I got it now.
Yeah. Well, hey,
I was getting kind of sort of chubby the other day. I was like calling friends and saying, dude, come over. Let's do something.
Yeah, that vein's disgorged too. So hopefully I'll take care of that. I'm hoping that I'll pack up the studio and head south to the Atlanta studio, and maybe that disgorged vein will be taken care of this weekend. We'll see. I don't know. Mrs. Sportcat may not be frisky, so who knows?
Has she missed? Have you been gone too much that she's like, yeah?
I don't know. She works with doctors. I got some competition, but yeah, I've been gone since March. So yeah, I've been gone a minute.
I think it's at least that. It might have been like late February.
It could have been. It could have been
because it was right around. It was right around when my parents were here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And they were here end of February, early March. So at least early March, if not February.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll work out. But I got a veterinarian appointment I got to take care of first. But other than that, I think everything's cleared up.
What's your pussy hurt?
No, Ginger has got severe allergies, and here in East Tennessee, they have been over the top. So she's got some hot spots, and it's just stuff. So she's gonna
Benadryl at night.
I asked the vet about that, and she said because of the way the dogs metabolize, that the Benadryl isn't as effective on dogs and cats as she didn't say cats, so let me back up there, on dogs as it is humans.
So they can take more than what a human would use. My other Mastiff, I would give, I think it's 50 milligrams. I would give him 2 of them.
Wow.
But Matrix is 95 pounds, and with the 50 milligram regular strength, not children's, he's out in an hour, and he'll sleep all night.
Okay. Yeah, she didn't say how much. She just said it didn't metabolize as efficiently. So,
and that's why you can safely give them more than what you and I would take. But
okay.
they can metabolize it, so giving them more is not going to hurt them.
Yeah, and she said Zyrtec too. Same thing.
Same thing. Yes. Never when you give over-the-counter allergy meds to dogs, never give them the D. So, like Zyrtec D or
it's like extended, isn't it? Is that what that means or something?
It's the hyphen and the letter D. There's Zyrtec and Zyrtec D, and Claritin and Claritin D, and all of them have a hyphen D. The hyphen D is toxic. You do not want to give that to a dog.
Okay, didn't know that. All right. Well, yeah. I don't typically give. Well, I mean, I've given her Zyrtec and Benadryl, but usually just a small amount. But it's gotten past the point where her normal allergy meds weren't working. That we get prescription, and gosh, don't ask me the name of them, but we got them from the puppy pharmacy in Atlanta. I can't think of the name of them. Dang it. Anyhow, they put her on a new med, and she just wants to give her a clean bill of health before she goes home. But I think she'll be fine. So
good.
But yeah, so that's all I got holding me up. Otherwise, I'm packing up and heading south. So Monday,
good
hopefully, I'll be in my home studio. But I'll let you know if something changes.
Yeah, how'd the show go last night?
It went really well. The live show on Big Brother is always crazy, and they evicted the person that wasn't even the initial target. So it was kind of a crazy episode. But yeah, the show went great. Otherwise,
nice.
I was glad to see him go. He was a misogynist and kind of an asshole, so I was glad to see him go.
Good.
He didn't hurt my feelings leaving. So
nice. I heard you guys talking about there's an older guy that's there that you thought was going to go. Is he still there?
Yeah. Will, he's an older black guy. He has I think he might be a captain in the military or something. And he's kind of under the radar, but everybody's kind of looking at him thinking, I don't know, this guy looks like he's pretty fit. And yeah, I mean, he's ex-military, so he's still in good shape for the show's age. He's old, but he's only his 50s, maybe at the early 50s. So maybe, well, he's retired military, so he's probably mid 50s for the show's age. That's old. So, because they're all, 20s to 30s. So
aspiring actors and whatever the hell.
Yeah, 40s would be ancient to them. So, but it's a great cast this season. Lots of good personalities. I'll make my gay comment here. The guy that I thought that was going to come on and just be the typical flaming that you see on the Hollywood, that's just way out there. Jimmy tucked it all in and become gangster, and I am down for it. He is like all in. I thought he was going to go the opposite way. Yeah, how Hollywood portrays, they're coming out and cross-dressing and their makeup. Now, Jimmy just put on the jumpsuit, slicked his hair back, put a bandana on, and full out went gangster. And I am there for it. I love the guy. So
nice. Well, I'm about to. Up next is Sportcat's Daily Gazette. For the next 2 hours, he's going to take you through all sorts of news on Mastiff Media Network, as well as Dare Media Network, and his own socials. So if you're watching this, switch over to mastiff.media and check out our stations on the tabs at the top to continue with the audio, or go to Para or Normal Guys on YouTube to catch the video. That's the best info I've got on that, unless you want to elaborate quick.
I just search out the Sport Cat shows. You'll find it that way. So
easy enough. And I'm about to cut the radio feed so you can pick it up. Yes. Are you ready?
Daddy needs control. So yes, give me control.
There you go.
Baby. All right. We are green. Daddy is control at Yerg's Radio. Yerg's, have a great weekend. I'm sure I'll talk to you a little bit.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Are you going to be in the 9:00 meeting tomorrow?
PM or AM?
a.m. It's 9 a.m. Eastern. It's the what we now call Matrix Media. It's the combination of Dare Media and Mastiff Media. We're
Yeah.
both into the Matrix, so we call it Matrix Media.
Can I do it mobile?
Yeah, you'd have to. It's because
Yeah.
it's they're in Australia and I'm in Florida, and
Oh,
so
no. I mean, I'm on cell phone while I'm driving.
oh yeah, and you don't necessarily have to. It's just you are welcome to if you'd like to. It's
Okay.
pretty much about tone tips and then the collaboration between Australia and U.S.
Okay. I will try my bestest, but I will hopefully be on the road. But I will try my bestest. I'll let you know. We'll talk.
So yeah, we'll talk before that, but that's gonna be on the Dare Media server on Discord.
Okay.
Something you're also having fun learning too.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Let me get out of here. We're running late.
Yep.
I'll talk to you soon, brother. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Glenn Sportcat Jackson up next with Sportcat's Daily Gazette. He's already got Mastiff Media Network Radio as well as Dare Media and his own socials. Google Sportcat's Daily Gazette or go to YouTube and check out Para or Normal Guys with a Z, and take it from there. That's it for us. I will be back on Monday. Jane Stahl will be joining me for it's not the fourth Friday yet, so or Monday yet. So for the second half of the show, I've got a lot of work to do here in the studio. Until then, have a great weekend. Go get your old fashioned or rum drink or whatever it is. That's it. Time for lunch. I gotta set an alarm. I gotta set an alarm to feed myself. That's how much I sit in this chair. All right, gang. That's it. I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs. Have a great weekend.